Hello, champs. How's been your day? I hope you'll be enjoying the lessons so far and you'll be safe. In today's lesson, we will be treating measuring volume of liquid. Measuring volume of liquid. So liquids have volume. Liquid has volume. Now we need to know what all liquid is all about. Liquid have volume. As I said earlier, liquid have volume. The space occupied by a liquid in a container makes up its volume. Meaning, when you pour water, for instance, in a container like your cup, the space is occupied is the volume. The space the volume of that water reaches is the volume of that water or the liquid. Now, next we need to talk about, there are some instruments for measuring liquid, or tools used for knowing the volume of liquid. One, we have the beaker. The beaker is what used for measuring what the liquid, which is what measured. Now we have what the conical flask. The conical flask is another instrument or a tool for measuring liquid. Now we have what measuring cylinder is also another what tool or instrument for measuring what the volume of liquid. Now we have the gallon. Your normal gallon you see is used for measuring what liquid or water. Flat bottom flask. Flat bottom flask is also an instrument or a tool used for measuring what liquid. We have what round bottom flask. Round bottom flask is also the other instrument for measuring what the volume of the liquid. Now, in the next slide you're going to see, or in next video clip, we're talking about the practical aspect of measuring liquid. Enjoy.
About finding volume or measuring volume, and to find volume we use graduated cylinders, which are these tall looking containers here. Okay, you may notice that a beaker has volume marks on it, but it's terribly inaccurate. So in order to find volume correctly, we need to use a graduated cylinder. Okay, alright, so the really important thing to know about finding volume in a graduated cylinder, okay, when water is poured into a graduated cylinder, it forms what's called a meniscus. In other words, you see how in this picture here I've shown that water kind of curves up the edges, right? If you measure at the top of the curve, that is not an accurate measurement. You must measure at the bottom of the curve, or the bottom of the meniscus. Okay? Water kind of sticks to the edges and forms a little curve. And we'll look at that in just a second. If you're using a glass graduated cylinder, notice it has this yellow piece of plastic at the top of it. Okay, that's not to use to measure. It actually protects it. If it falls over, it keeps it from breaking. Okay, so that needs to stay at the top. Always stay at the top. Okay, so let's practice measuring now. Okay, so let's say you have an amount of water and you pour it into the graduated cylinder. Now, how much water do we have? Okay, first thing, never look at it from up here. Okay, if you're going to measure using a graduated cylinder, you always need to get down eye level with the water, or whatever liquid you're measuring. Okay, and then once I get close to it here, you can see the meniscus. You see how the liquid curves up the sides. Okay, you're not measuring at the top of the meniscus. You need to measure at the bottom of the meniscus. Okay, let's see how much water we have in here. Okay, it's colored water. Okay, notice right here, the big line is 70 milliliters. Okay, notice below there is 60. There's 10 marks in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 is the longer one. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 70. Okay, so that means each mark is 1 milliliter. Alright, so let's count, starting at 70. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 75. Okay, the top of the meniscus is actually at 76, but we always read the bottom of the meniscus. So this is 75 milliliters of water. Okay. If you're from up here, you might get a wrong measurement. If you look from down here, again, you might get a wrong measurement because that looks more like 76. You have to be exactly at eye level. Okay, so what do I do if I want a little bit more? Let's say I want 77 milliliters instead of 75. Okay, you're going to use a pipette, which is a fancy word for a dropper. Okay, so I've gotten some more liquid in my dropper, in my pipette, and I'm going to hold it over here above, hold it in the graduated cylinder, and then I need to look as I'm dropping drops in to see when it gets up to the appropriate place. Alright, remember we want to look at the bottom of the meniscus only, not the top. Okay, so now I'm going to add drops with my dropper, with my pipette. And I'm going to keep dropping them in. Okay, now I'm up to, notice the bottom of the meniscus now is at 76, the top is at 77, so I need a little bit more. So I keep dropping until the bottom of my meniscus now is at 77. So that's how you add water, okay, or add a liquid to bring it up to the correct measurement. Alright, so if you need to remove some water or liquid, the way to do it is to dump some of it out and then fill back up with the pipette again. Okay, if you try to stick the pipette down in there to take some out, well, when you put the pipette in, it actually changes the measurement just a little bit. So it's best just to dump it out and then fill it back up with the pipette.
So kids, I hope you enjoy the practical clip class on measuring volume of liquid. See you guys in the next lesson. Stay safe and follow the COVID-19 rule. Bye bye.